Good morning. I have a little different kind of presentation this morning. It's something that was produced last year. What happened was 2.5 years ago, I had a client who was also a very good friend whose insurance I took care of and different things for he and his company and his family. Well, then he died very unexpectedly. And what made it so amazing was that he really needed an extra $2 million of life insurance when I went to see him. So I did go to see him. And of course, he being a guy who was like leveraged up to his earlobes, he just said, come on, put it through, we'll see how it comes in, and then I'll pay for it if I like it. And I said, no, Scott, I need you to write a check today for anything that we do, and that's the only way I'll do it. Because he was a risk taker in many areas of his life. He got on the phone with his accountant and his manager, and finally says, all right, check. And so he wrote me checks, and a very interesting thing happened, because before that extra $2 million was approved, he drowned unexpectedly. So, I mean, he owned airplanes, a 70-person company, commercial properties, residential property, a ranch, horses, I mean, and everything was leveraged right up to there. And his wife was so, like, freaked out. She couldn't even take my call or call me for a couple of weeks, just thinking about how complicated unraveling his life was going to be for their family and what it meant to them. So then when I met with Kathy, the first thing I just said was, settle down. It's all good, you know. $4.2 million coming your way. And she didn't know about any of it, you know. And so we took care of a buy-sell transaction where she gave up his stock to the partner for a couple million, and then there was $2.2 million after that to take care of income and creating a lifestyle. And she sold off properties and planes. And anyways, this is the story of that. What happened was the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors found out about this story and through some people I work with. And so they invited me to put a 500-word thing together, and they could determine if I qualified to come to the convention and be a speaker. So I did. And then they said, yes, we want your story this year. And so they sent a film crew out and it was the day after I got my braces. I could hardly talk. It was so funny. But we did that, so there's a 3-minute video, and then I got to go to, I was at that convention in August or September last year. 2,000 people in this audience, and I'm not like Dan. I don't talk to crowds very often, but I felt like Obama with my, what do they call those things?
Teleprompter.
Teleprompter. I have my teleprompters, and it's not easy if you're not used to it. Anyways, here's the story. That was really good.
The one they have at home and the one they have at work. Scott had the foresight to take care of them both. Let's watch his family story.
My husband Scott likes to dream big.
He loved to golf, he loved to fish, he loved to windsurf, anything that was outside he was doing.
The biggest attraction for me to Scott was that it was very adventurous, and if he had a dream, he followed it till he made it come true. He worked hard to build a successful business.
Garden was founded on radiant heating 20 years ago. I bought into my brother's company. He had about 4 employees. He just grown from there to 60, 70 people.
Throughout the years, Scott's business increased to the point where life insurance needed to go up with it.
We worked with Steve for our life insurance, our health insurance, and our buy-sell agreement.
Buy-sell agreement allowed Scott and David to own the company outright in the event of a death or disability.
So if one of us deceased, we would have control of the company, wouldn't have to sell it or lose it.
So Scott purchased more life insurance as the business grew and as the family grew.
got married in Boulder, and we had 2 girls. We chose to move up to Eagle, Colorado, and live on a ranch. It was our dream to raise our children in the country, and as busy as Scott's life was, he always found a spot for his kids.
July 4th, Scott decided to paddleboard on a river to get to the picnic to meet his family and friends. The rudder of the paddleboard caught between 2 rocks, propelled him into the white water, and he was tethered and then drowned.
He would have been 52 to start all his life.
The worst nightmare of my life happened at that point.
It took 2 weeks for Kathy to be ready for me to come by and discuss what this looks like financially.
I found out from Steve that not only did it increase his life insurance for us personally, but he had increased it for the sale of the business to his brother David.
The buy-sell insurance allowed me to buy all Kathy Scott shares, so now I'm sole owner. So the company has no debt because we did have the insurance.
My daughters and I have to make a new life for ourselves without Scott. That need to be a part of us because we were able to stay here on this ranch. It's just a representation of who he was and how hard he worked and his dreams.
Let's welcome our 4th Real Life Stories Client Services honoree, Steve Sabo.
It was hard not to be swept up in Scott's wake. He was the Pied Piper. He was always planning some new adventure with his family or friends. And if you were to make the plan, Scott would make it larger than life and make sure everyone signed on to go along for the ride. While Scott dreamed big, he made sure that he took care of the fundamentals that made up his life, his family, and his business. Over the years, I helped him do that. What this video doesn't show is that I helped Scott put more life insurance in place for his family to better fund the business's buy-sell agreement and for his family just before he died. The new policies were bound with a check, but were still in underwriting. So the number one thing I'd like to tell you is don't do COD business. Bind everything with a check. Bind what the company will allow. If I hadn't done that, Kathy and the girls would be in a much different situation right now. I'd also like to stress that this story is a powerful lesson. A horrible tragedy like Scott losing Scott in that accident doesn't have to take the family with it. Everyone misses Scott, but they'll never forget how he took care of them. Now, I'd like to introduce a very strong woman, Kathy Young, accompanied by her brother-in-law, David Young.
Thank you. And good morning to everyone. What I love about this video is that, first of all, you got to see Scott and learn about what a wonderful husband, father, and friend that he was, as well as a good businessman. He was so full of life and fun, and the girls and I miss him every single day. I also love that you got to see what we were able to create as a family. Created a beautiful ranch where our girls could live a simpler life and enjoy the outdoors. It wasn't something that was given to us. Scott and I didn't have much when we started out, but we had a dream, and we were able to build this life together. And I want to thank Steve wholeheartedly for helping us preserve that dream. The life insurance money will never bring Scott back, and I know that. But what I also know is that he made sure that Caitlin and Brianna and I are able to continue to live on the ranch that we built. That has been so important for my girls as they go through the process of adapting to a new life that they've been forced to live. The life insurance has also given me time to make good decisions instead of rash decisions about what I'm going to do in the future. I'm back in school, and it's my intention to start working again. But the beauty is I don't have to run out and work. I can be there for my girls. And that's an incredible gift that Scott gave to us. Thank you so much.
Nice video.
That's great.
Yeah, that's cool.